Hi guys, I'm just going to be starting in a couple of minutes as well. I'm just going to give everyone just a minute to join the session, although for those that may be watching back in the next, say, 24 hours, just give us a moment just to get everybody on. Hi guys, welcome to today's lesson. Today's lesson is a classic bob, and welcome to our series, our 4-day cutting course, which is Introduction to Classic, Contemporary and Creative Cutting. If everyone can let me know that they can hear me okay, and that the music in the background is okay as well, volume-wise, that would be really great. I'm just going to give you a brief run-through about what this 4-day little mini course is about. I'm going to be doing a look each day, so today's look is a classic haircut. Tomorrow we'll be doing a contemporary haircut, and by contemporary what we mean is a shape that is very salon-focused. Thank you guys, thanks for the feedback as well. So that's what I mean when I say contemporary cutting. It's mainly about taking a classic shape, which we're like doing today, and then giving it a twist for something that you can give to a salon client that's going to be really cool and fashion forward. Creative cutting, which will take place on Thursday, is a little bit more advanced, and it's more stuff we do for like collections and maybe the odd client as well. So just to recap, today, Tuesday, first day 1 is classic cutting. Tomorrow, Wednesday at 4 is contemporary cutting, and also we have creative cutting on Thursday. Each day you will have a quiz. This is for Michael John learners who are registered on Pivot Point. Today's quiz is already on there. If you cannot see the link, DM me. I can either send you the quiz via email or investigate further to make sure you can see it on Pivot Point. And that's for our Michael John learners on Pivot Point as well. So yeah guys, so there's also a hairdressing assignment for a head sheet. Instructions are also on Pivot Point. For any Michael John learner that can't access their Pivot Point and needs instructions, drop me a DM, I'll give you my email, give me your email, and we'll do it all through email, doesn't worry. You will get a little certificate at the end of this course as well, so a little in-house certificate from us to you, and it'll just really great for your portfolio to help you develop a little bit further. Okay, so today, classic cutting. I'm going to cut a very classic bob. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my head sheets, which are actually behind me on the wall. I'm going to talk to you about my inspiration for today, what actually inspired me to create this haircut for you guys as part of classic cutting as well. The bob is a fundamental haircut that all hairdressers need to learn and then to master. And I feel that it's always a great place to start with classic cutting is a bob, because it's one of the most technically minded cuts. It's one of the ones that's got the most components to it. It's also one that's got quite a lot of risk. There's quite a lot that can actually potentially go wrong as well, which is why I think as hairdressers we cover it again and again and again. The cut that I've done today is called, I've called it Bevel bob. And by that what I mean, it's a one-length bob with a light, very low graduation that creates a slight beveled shape as well. I'm going to actually move you. I've never done this before. Ooh, I'm going to turn you around. One sec, does this work? Hey, it does. Okay, right. Can everyone see? So, holding the camera. Right, so this is my head sheet. As you can see, I've given it a cutting key. So major section's black, subsection's blue. Green means where the direction of the hair is going to be pulled. And then red is where the line is cut. So this is when you do your one length. It's 0 degrees graduation. It's square line that's over directed. And you can see how I take the sections and what line I actually cut. When we say square line over directed, we mean we pull it slightly back, which means the line is triangular. You can also see that line represented here on the square line technique for the bevel bob. The line is slightly inverted. And by that what I mean is it's on a slight angle, which means when the client pops her head up, it will be square. Then we do a graduation technique. Now a bevel is a very low elevation, so this is low elevation graduation to create a subtle bevel in the hair. And it's just a little nick really, and it just helps to tuck the bob under very nicely. And you can see sometimes we usually find graduation more higher through these sections here, but you see this elevation is going to be quite low, and we can see it represented here as well. My inspiration for this haircut today was the 90s supermodel, and I created a little bit of a mood board here as well. Very Calvin Klein, Dolce & Gabbana. We've got a little bit of Naomi in there as well. I was really inspired by these early 90s very glamorous shapes as well, which is what made me think I'm going to do a bob with a little bit of a classic bevel in there, because I think it's going to really sort of give that very 90s chic. You know, very early 90s. This is very glamorous before sort of grunge came in sort of early to mid 90s as well. So it's going to be a very sleek, very glamorous look. I'm going to have a fringe in mine as well. You'll also see our questions from our quiz as well. I'm going to zoom out. I think that's right. So the quiz questions I'm going to go through at the end. I'm going to recap with you at the end of the session as well, and you'll answer them as well. You've got till the end of the week actually to answer the quiz questions, but as well. Oh, wow, that's close. Right, I'm going to put you back down, and then we're going to crack on. Okay, just give me a sec. Ooh, precarious. Cool. Right, I'm going to come a bit closer. I've already pre-sectioned. I've sectioned my fringe off, as you can see here in this lovely little pin curl. I'm taking a section that's going to expose the eye socket area. I always think on a fringe it's better to expose that area because it actually exposes the features of the face. However, if you want to slim the face down, you may do something slightly differently. Fringes is something I'll talk to you about another time. It's a little bit more complex. I've worked on a central parting. Central parting then divides just behind the ear, as shown here, and same on the opposite side. I take a central section going from crown through to just below the occipital. Slight diagonal forward sections are taken either side, and that creates the line that I'm going to actually cut today. Now, what I'm actually going to start to do, guys, is I'm going to wet down. You know, if you've been watching some of my cutting sessions, you'll see I'm pretty fanatical when it comes to continuously wetting the hair down. But we haven't had it, it's not fully confirmed, but we don't know what it's going to be about in terms of using hair dryers and this, that and the other when we actually do get to go back. So I'm not going to continuously keep the hair wet because there might be some time in the future where I'm just going to teach you a method called cut wet to dry, which means you keep cutting as the hair dries and then you create the shape that way. It's a bit of a different concept as well. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of heads up about fewer things that we're here into as well. Okay, so I've got my section here. Client's head will be slightly tilted forward. This will expose the stretch of the skin underneath the nape, which means that I can cut an inverted line. So when the client's head lifted back up, the line will be perfectly square with no graduation in, might I add, as well. Okay, you've got many options to cut a line. You can hold the hair in your fingers and pull it down. This will give you a lot of tension. You can choose to use your comb. This will give less tension. Or you can choose to press against the skin. This will give you maximum tension as well. It's really dependent on the actual hair texture itself. So this is very naturally smooth and straight. So I'm going to allow for its natural texture to come through as well. And that's how I typically prefer how to cut. But again, you could pull it down. With curly hair, I'd recommend you to use less tension as you actually work through the hair. But really, as hairdressers, we all apply slightly different amounts of tension on hair. You have to find what works for you, your style, and the way that you work as a hairdresser, in particular to what style and kind of hairdressing you're going to do as well. In terms of determining the length, that will be determined by the shape at the front. So when performing a consultation, we need to take into account the client's facial features. I'll repeat because that's question 1 on the quiz. When doing a consultation, performing a consultation, we must take into account the client's facial features and create a cut to suit and enhance them as well. Okay? So we're going to decide on the length. We're looking sort of round about just under the jaw as well because I'm going to graduate it slightly. So what I do in order to measure the length at the back is I visually draw a line through that section, which is going to take me to about here as well. So it's going to be quite short. It's quite long at the back, but it's much shorter at the front. She has a creative mullet at the moment, so it needs to go. so that's what I want to do. So that's how I determine my line in terms of working a line through there as well. I'm just going to try and get the best angle for me and for you. Which way is best to go? Down there. Okay, I have to move my body position to accommodate the camera as well. I'm going to work with a comb. Now, by working with a comb, I am just working with less tension on the hair. So I may have to go through afterwards and do some correction work. But however, if I'm honest, this is how I prefer to work. I like to work with lesser tension. Some hairdressers prefer a stronger tension in there. Again, you've got to find what's right for you. So what I've cut here is a slight inverted line. When the client would raise her head back up, this would be more square. It would also give me the opportunity to round this off slightly afterwards as well. I prefer to leave it a little bit more angular than what I actually particularly need. So I just cut that line quite loosely. I'm going to go back through and refine. I'm just going to go back through and refine that line. You see, when you're teaching, guys, and if some of you guys are aspirational teachers, you have to cut in all different angles. Like, I'm really meant to be stood here, but instead I'm over here, and I'm like bending right over just so you guys can see as well. So it's quite challenging as well. So as you can see, my comb is parallel to the section. So the section's diagonally forward, the comb goes in, and then I bring it down to the bottom, and that determines where I'm going to cut it. I would then do the same on the opposite side. So what I want to do is then tilt it back to the opposite way, like so. So I'm now going to do the same on the opposite side, and then I'm going to show you. It's not always easiest for me to show you on the block. And you can see I've started to create that shape now. I'll need to round off this corner a little bit more. It's a little bit too angular. It's very important at this stage of the haircut to assess what you have just created. More important than any other section, because this will determine the overall haircut length as well. So that's why it's really, really important just to take that few minutes to think, I'm going to really check this, actually. And I can already see on camera, like, I need to refine this edge here. It's just way too strong. But what I actually need to do is I need to come through, and I need to be here. I'm just going to refine. I'm just going through and I'm really refining that shape. I'm going to freehand it a little bit as well. Just through there as well, that's great. Lovely. I'm just going to go through. And again, you guys are my mirror, so this is where the mirror would potentially be, or I've been making visual assessments. Sometimes I do spin the client full 360 all the way around. 180, sorry, not 360, that would be about right at the beginning. Just so I can actually use the mirror to check the balance, because that really helps me, I find. Okay. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Next sections. Usually, I use my index finger and I place it on, like so, and that will determine the thickness of the next section. This is only a benchmark though. And I can't necessarily say that this will work for every client. You have to take sections dependent on how thick the hair is and what you're creating. Take your time to take sections in the hair. Don't rush them. So we don't take large sections and we don't take them quickly. Question 2 of the quiz. Okay, you've got the option to work one side all together and then the other side, or both sides at the same time. I like to work both sides at the same time because it really helps me with that balance as well. So I'm just going to take the corresponding section from the opposite side, come a little bit lower. Ooh, I don't want to see back of my hair. Okay, that'll do for now. I might straighten it up when I come around the other side. Going to go a little bit quicker now, guys, because what I want to do is I want to cut this line all the way through to the front, and I want to do a bevel as well before we actually finish. So I'm just going to push this a little bit forward. Here we go. I'm going to put my comb in to where the section grows, so where the actual section is taken, and then bring it down. I can see the line from before, and I'm just going to basically cut to accommodate that line. Same on the opposite side. Check your balance. Can everyone see? Just give me a thumbs up that you can all see what I'm doing. I'm just doing a little bit of a balance check. Happy with that. Got a little bit too much corner on this side though. I'll refine that afterwards. It's not really going to disturb how I'm working as well. Cool. Right, let's go. Commercial salon time now as well. Many of you are getting to that stage now in your careers. If you're sort of finishing your level 2 where, yes, skill's important and we're definitely going to be driving that up. Thanks, guys. I'm glad that you can see and hear and everything. That's really cool. But I do have to focus on what we call commercial standard. It's great that, you know, if we were creating a collection or something, we'd spend hours designing, cutting colours. But being totally blunt with you guys, we don't do that in salon. You know, we've got 45 minutes to an hour to create magic. And it's important to start considering now, okay, I've mastered the bob, I've mastered the forward graduation, I've mastered other techniques. But now I need to think, okay, well now, those techniques, they need to make me money. I'm just going to dampen it lightly, as I said earlier. I'm using less water on the hair, just in case when we do go back to salon, we might have to naturally dry hair, we might not be using hair dryers. Don't know, nothing's been confirmed yet, but that's what I'm sort of hearing out and about in the hair world. Some people have been talking about that. Just going through now, and I'm just working through. I'm using the small T for the comb, and I'm using the small T because it is giving that maximum tension that I can actually achieve whilst using a comb as well. I'm also making sure that that is just slightly tucking under as well, so I'm not making sure it sticks out. Same on the opposite side. Any questions, please feel free to ask. I'd be happy to answer them as well. You'll always find one side more difficult to cut than the other as well. My recommendation to you is to cut your bad side first and then match your good side to your bad side, because you're only as good as your bad side. Hope that makes sense. And by that, what I actually mean is you need to actually ensure that both sides are as good as each other. So you can't cut this side wonderful and then cut this side a bit rubbish. You have to make sure they both are great. So you're only as good as your bad side. Lovely. Very happy. Carry on. Oh, we're going nice and fast today, aren't we, guys? Salon. My next client's in 20 minutes. I need this to look amazing. Let's go. Hi, everyone. Hope you've been enjoying those little gift challenges as well. I think they've been really cool. Thanks to Chloe from our recruitment department for designing those. They're bespoke to Michael John. Super cool as well. I've never seen them before. So I had to email and I was like, how do they work? What do I do? I'm not sure. I don't think I'm cool enough. But you guys definitely knew what to do. I'm loving them. We've got another winner to announce. I need to look through yesterday's entries as well, but they were really cool. Well done, guys. You'll see, because I split the section here, it's splitting there a little bit more. So what I usually do here is I usually just take that and I comb it like this and it rejoins it. Can you see it takes that line out? You've got to dampen it a little bit to do that. That's quite important, actually, because otherwise it can push the hair in ways you don't want it to go. Comb in, work down the hair, comb it a few times until you feel ready, it's combed enough to actually work the line that you're cutting at the base. And then just go through and snip. Lovely. Yeah, nice. I'm really using the mirror today. Any questions, feel free to ask. So tomorrow, I'm going to use this same blockhead tomorrow. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a contemporary twist. It's okay me teaching you like creative cutting, like doing mad crazy sections and disconnecting them, but the reality is that you'll very rarely do that. So I find the most powerful cutting forms for hairdressers are where we can actually take a context like a bob and make it creative and bespoke for the client while still being fashion friendly, as I'm going to use the term, because sometimes high fashion cuts, they don't always suit everybody. So we have to create what we call commercial versions of them. You know, and we still want it to be fun for us guys. I mean, if we were just cutting one-length bobs and doing bouncy blow dries all day, it'd be really boring. You know what I mean? So, will the quiz come up on Pivot Point once the lesson is over? The quiz is actually... Thank you, Abby. That's a really good question. The quiz is already on there. So, if you log into your Pivot Point, on your dashboard, it should be a course that says Introduction to Classic, Contemporary and Creative Cutting. Click on there. You click it again. So, you have to click twice into the actual pathway. And then the quiz is called Classic Cutting Quiz, and it's highlighted in blue. If you can't see that on your dashboard, let me know. I'll go on and check that I did enrol you, Apologies if I missed you out. There was many hundreds of people to enrol. And yeah, I can really make sure that you're on there. But don't worry, if we have any problems, I can always email you the quiz. Just drop me your email address if you have to do that. And email you from my company account. That's great. I'm just going to actually make a bit of a visual here. Obviously, we can't do this in real life. It'd be great, wouldn't it, if you could just like lift your client up and have a proper look underneath. But yeah, I'm just going to go through and just shade this a little bit. You know, when in Rome. I'm getting quite used to cutting these blocks. I think it's going to be really weird when I go back and cut human people. I'll be like, why are you moving? Can you stop moving, please? My mannequins don't move at all. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to release the final section. When I actually work in the crown area, I always switch. Did you enrol me? Yeah, I've inquired about, yes. Thank you, Tyler. I was actually thinking about you earlier. I've spoke to our recruitment department. I'm just waiting for them to get back to me. But you can always drop me your email address and I can email you the stuff as well if we can't get you on, but there'll be no problem. It's asking me to enrol myself. Oh, I have the code for that, Chloe. I'll send it to you straight after the live because you can enrol yourself as well. But I did enrol you. But yes, you can enrol yourself on that code. Actually, I could do that for you as well, couldn't I, Tyler? Okay, right, I'll message you both afterwards at the end as well. There's always some tech queries coming up. That's what I was worried about. So, I've been using this side of the comb. There we go. Nice tight tension because it'll pull the hair quite tight. I'm going to switch to this side when I work on the crown. The reason being, in this area as well, we can get difficult growth patterns, which means the hair swishes and moves in ways we're not necessarily... Oh, great, amazing, Chloe. It swishes and moves in ways we don't necessarily want it to, but we have to work with the grain of the hair. So by relaxing the tension on your final section, you will achieve a perfect line shape. It won't bounce up and give you any surprises. Now, yes, we are graduating this anyway, but I do want to cut a line first because it is about creating that structure in the hair. I'm just going to freehand that final section. Just going to check it in my hands very lightly. I'm just going to make sure that I'm not pulling the hair too hard at this stage because I don't want any bounce back. And that's just going to tuck in really nicely there. I'm just going to check. Yeah, lovely. That's great. I'm just going to show you. Can you see there? Just going to tuck in nicely. And that'll give you... It'll give you a little bit of a bevel, but by graduating it slightly, we're going to really tuck it under. Great for clients that have got a few sort of movements in the ends and they want that nice tucked under bob. I'm actually going to fully freehand this line here. Because I've noticed on this side, there's a lot of movement. Can you see there? It's actually just, it's curling this way. It's pushing that way. So by actually fully freehanding it, I've allowed for its natural movement, which I love to cut like that because I think it's the best way to cut hair. Like, don't force it into a shape that it doesn't want to be in. So I'm now working on the side sections, straight across. I'm going to lift this section right up. I'm going to start to go a little bit quicker because I've got to bevel the hair yet. I am doing I'm going to have a little 5-minute break after I've done the haircut. Let's have a little breather from yapping on. And I've applied to apprentice and I shall be on the list for interviews. Is Pivot Point from... No, a Pivot Point can be used for applicants for this year, summer 2020. I think you should have had an email. If you've not, can you drop me a DM on here, on MJTS_Manchester, your full details, and I'll look to get you enrolled onto that as well, because there's lots of really interesting resources there for our applicants as well. So yeah, you can go on there. Oh, I'm really wet there. Oops. Because I'm going to do a blow dry session straight after this. I'm going to have a 5-minute break after I've cut it. Then I'm going to come back on and I'm going to blow dry it. So some of you guys can see a blow dry technique called a wrap dry, wrap and leaf. Many of you guys have seen me do it a few times. So not everyone has to watch that. And then I'll refine it afterwards. Now I'm working over the ear. The ear is one of the most challenging areas when we work with in hair cutting. You're very welcome. Is one of the most challenging areas. So we must allow for its protrusion. And by protrusion, what I mean is this. It sticks out. So as you can see, when I press the hair down, it sticks out. So I have to allow the hair that grows over it to be longer. So when it protrudes, it will still meet the same line on the bottom as well. So I must use different techniques here. There's so many different ways. Some people pull it behind and cut it there. Some people pull it down in the fingers and then press with the scissors on that section there as well. Again, the technique that I choose to use is a technique where it's actually a lot of natural tension as well. So I'm going to lift her up a little bit more because I'm actually just want to get you the best view possible. That's better for me. That's great. So we can see what we're doing. Yeah, we're rocking. Yeah. So I'm going in there straight across now. I'm working through. I'm ensuring that the protrusion has been allowed for. It's been compensated for the ear as well. I'm working to the line. And now I'm going to continue the square technique. Straight through there as well. Hi, Brie. My friend Brie from Luxembourg. Hi, Brie. We used to work together in London. Sorry, I'm just taking a few minutes to comb it there. I kind of forgot you were there, actually. I was like, oh, I'm really enjoying myself. So what I'm going to do here is to create this square line, I'm angling slightly downwards. This is going to ensure that the line does not round. I find sometimes if you go too square, it tends to tilt up towards the face. I don't want that look. I want to retain a little bit of length towards the front so I can detail it afterwards as well. So what I'm going to do is just angle it slightly forward and then I'm going to refine the line. Also as well, sometimes we get hairlines that spring up. You can get some movement, so it'll allow for any irregular movement within the hair. And there is always on a block, it sort of springs. But I've allowed for that, I've compensated for it, so it's still slightly forward. I'm gonna stay this high, even though I'm gonna have to stand on tiptoes to take the sections. Because I think we've got a good view on the camera. Hope the quality's okay. There we go. That's great. Lovely. What time are we on? 29 minutes past. We're about halfway through. We're doing alright. One little spray as well. So as well. Again, comb in straight across on the section, straight down. Allow for the compensation of the ear. So I'm going over the ear gently. I've allowed for its compensation, its protrusion. And then I'm just going to go through and just refine that line. Lovely. There, straight through there. Going to go through, tilt the comb slightly downwards. And then go in. You can take that shorter afterwards, but you can't stick it back on. So that's why I always leave that a little bit longer, because I think I can detail that later. Do we know what's happening with EPA yet? I don't personally, but I think Gail does. So I'll pass your feedback on, Chloe. I think we are still waiting to hear final things on EPA, but whatever happens, you won't be disadvantaged. You will still sit your endpoint assessment and everything will still be amazing for you. Fabulous. Yay. Congratulations to Chloe, by the way. She won a very special award at Michael John. She has won the chance to develop her own collection because of all the amazing hard work that she's put in. So congratulations to Chloe. I'm very excited about working with you to create your very first collection. Some of this section is actually falling into the layers, you can see. So there's some layering already existing here as well, but I am still going to go through. I allow the hair to naturally fall. This section here, as you can see, is falling more into the back. I like to work with the hair's natural growth patterns and natural movement. It's how I cut hair. So again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow that to move that way. Because when I blow dry this hair, I won't be pushing it out of shape. I will be wrap drying the hair which will encourage the natural movement in a very beautifully fluid way. Last section. Oh. Yeah, it'll be fun, Chloe, I can't wait. And Tracy's going to be doing it with us as well. That's really great. Because we'll develop it. Your collections, we'll get one each together. That's great. Okay, last section. Last section, move to wide teeth, always. Yeah? So it'll just relax the tension to allow for any volume that appears at the root area as well. Because we do always get a little bit of lift in our blow dry, don't we? We don't want it like bone flat to the root. And encourage a little bit of natural movement in there. I'm just going to clean this up. That's great. That's the length. Lovely. I'm really happy with that. As I bevel it, it will rise slightly. So we wanted something around about jaw line. Once this is all done and dried and beveled, it will lift slightly to become that length that I want it to as well. 33. Right, let's go. I'm going to go a little bit faster on this side now because you've seen what I've done. Thank you for that tip, I never knew that. Oh, great. I'm glad I'm still of use. Even after all these years. That's great. So I'm going with back into maximum tension through there. And I'm just going to work through that square line. Slightly angle it down. And then again, when you cut in a block, by the way, it's double planted at the front. Oh, hi Tracy. Yeah, Tracy's on as well. Tracy also won the award with Chloe. You're both on, guys. Hi. So just to get back, yeah, it's double planted at the hairline, so there's double the amount of hair. So if you're practicing your bobs, you'll find this the most difficult part on a block. Just take that into account and relax your tension a little bit as well. I'm just going to measure it. This is when you do your measurements. I'm going to show you that actually. So I take a section from there, take a section from here, bring them together. Yeah, happy with that. Okay, right, super quick now, Craig, come on. Let's go. So even though I might be going quicker, my sections don't get thicker. That's question number 2. And we don't rush. And the elevation, this angle that we're taking here is 0 elevation at 0 degrees. Okay? Just looking at the questions of the quiz. So we direct it towards close to the skin as we possibly can at 0 degrees. It's question number 3. I think question number 4. Right. I'm not going to help you with the other 2. I am, in a bit. Slightly link it, bend it forward. You like your comb to work through like that. Again, as well, really detailing that final section through there. Again, corresponding section from the opposite side. Bring it out, measure it down. Measure as you go, section by section. Don't do it all, then measure it. Because to be honest, if you've got it wrong, you'll have to do it all again. It's easier to correct individual sections than it is to correct a whole side. Okay, I'm going to just quickly go through now and finish these last 2 sections. So again, still working with maximum tension on the comb. I've allowed for the protrusion of the ear because it's actually poking through slightly. Can you see it here? So that means I'm allowing for its protrusion quite well actually. That's because I'm not using my fingers. But sometimes I do find if I use my comb and not my fingers, I need to refine the shape a lot as well. So if you're actually going to use the comb technique rather than actually working with your fingers, you will need to make sure your line is fully refined. But what you'll also find is as well, you won't get any finger marks because your fingers have got little bumps in them. Look at my little chubby finger, you know, that's going to be like a round line there. So, okay, final section. Here, I'm going to now change to the wider teeth. So it was on maximum tension, and now we're going to minimum tension because, again, a little bit of root lift will come into play here on this parting. And if you want that perfect line, you want to compensate for any potential natural movement. I'm going to use my fingers just on this section because I want to check it. But I have worked with a very soft tension technique. So I'm just checking my sections now from side to side, bringing them down to the centre. Would I be stood in front of the client at this point? Yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah. Fabulous. That's great. Lovely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bevel the hair. So I'm just going to put a really soft bevel in. The angle is a graduation angle, which is taken between 1 degree and 89 degrees. So a graduation angle can be anything from 1 degree through to 89 degrees. That's question number 4. So I'm going to actually elevate the hair between 1 degree. Do I know the exact angle? No, because I ain't got a protractor with me. So I'm not a mathematician. But I know I'm graduating because I know it's below 90. Anything below 90 is graduation. And when we get to 0, it's 0 elevation. That's the line. It's very, very simple. 0 degrees is just a 1 length cut. Anything from 1 degree to 89 degrees is graduation, and anything from 90 and above is layering. I'm going to divide the hair into the back above the occipital bone. I'm going to show you this division in just a moment. I'm going to quickly take it. Because actually just beveling the hair doesn't mean you go through and thoroughly graduate. It means you're just adding that top line bevel through here. So that's where I'm going to start working from, and this is where my bevel is going to begin. So it's above the occipital bone in this case. When you want to add very soft graduation, as shown on the head sheet here, where it's actually more angled out like this, you'll work on slightly horizontal sections, but diagonal, horizontal. If you want something that's, say, sharper and tighter, the more vertical the section becomes. So if you want something wider, the more horizontal the section. If you want something more slimmer, the more vertical the section is as well. So again, you'll see here, a section is actually quite horizontal through this section here. So I'm going to take it through. I'm actually going to have to wet this section down a little bit. I'm going to take this section through. I'm going to divide actually into the centre. So I'm going to push that section away here. I'm going to take this section here. This won't be graduated. This is the underneath. I'm going to lift this up and over. I'm going to now change the angle. That's really good, that. I think you can really see there. And then what I'm going to do, it's low. So usually when we graduate, we're typically about here. This would be 90. Anything below that would be between 1 degree to 89 degrees. But I just want to create that little bit of a bevel, so I'm not actually taking that much off. But you'd be really surprised in how this really helps create volume into the hair, because you're just sneaking that tiny little, like that, just that little bit of a bend, just at the very end of the bob, as well. You pull everything back, so I'm going to work with the shape is going to be square. So I'm going to now pull everything back, and I'm just going to refine that section there. And that's going to create this little bit of a bevel. It's just going to tuck it in really nicely into the back as well. I think you can actually start to... you can see it here. Can you see that little tucking bevel? If you look at the other side, it's flatter. This now has a little bit more movement and volume. Just that tiny little difference can make such a huge difference to the actual overall cut. I'm going to do the same on the opposite side, and then I'll work with the sections more through. I'm just working over this angle so you guys can actually see, but I would never work this angle usually because it's uncomfortable for my body. But I just wanted you to see how that's been angled. It was a square shape, so these remain the same length. It's this interior shape. What we now need to do is we need to take horizontal sections to actually check that both sides are the same. And we just need to refine that little bit there, and we've achieved it. It's a very soft bevel, very soft. Just creates this beautiful look as well. I'm going to now work the remainder of the back sections over it. And then I'm going to subdivide these sections as well now to break them down. Sorry, come round. Ooh, it's like musical chairs today. So I'm now going to work a central section to divide, because obviously we can't work both sides at the same time. I'm now going to take this section here, through here. I'm just going to take that section there and I'm just going to twist it and place it up there. I'm now going to elevate this section out. As I actually lift, check to see the graduation underneath. You'll see it's there. Oh, sorry. And work through. So you guys do one-on-one teaching? Yeah, we do all different kinds of teaching. We do, it's mainly apprenticeships in salon, but we do offer private tuition courses as well on a bespoke basis. So tell us what you're after and we can create something for you as well. You can see here as well, just got this little bit of a section there that I just want to take in. And I just want to, every time what I'm doing is I'm assessing how it's changing the movement of the hair. So I'm lifting the section up to where I want the elevation to be, and then taking the line through, and then it's that I pop it down to see how the hair has reacted to what I've created. I'm now going to take this section over it. I'm going to direct it quite low, and then again we can see what needs to be refined. It's a very small amount, because again we're just creating that beautiful tuck in there as well. I'm going to quickly do the same on the opposite side, and then I'll show you the front. And I'm really hoping I get time to show you the... Yeah, I'll get time to show you the fringe as well. So again, I'm directing down. I'm working that low elevation angle through there as well. Now, she has a bit of a creative haircut going on underneath this new classic haircut that I'm creating for her. So what I'm finding is there's this little section here that's got a bit of disconnection in it. Because she's had a lot. She was silver at one point. She was painted silver. That was from one of my other classes as well. So I think she's got a little bit of disconnection going on, which is kind of cool. I'm going to work it in. I'm going to work it, make it work. So again, I'm just going to do a cross check now. So I worked on the diagonal, horizontal sections. I'm going to cross check, taking horizontal as well. So I need to place my foot on there. And I'm just going to work all that section all the way through. And you can see just that little bit needs refining. And that's just going to help soften the bevel as well, if we just refine that area through there as well. So again, it's just going to tuck it in really nice and neat. Working through onto the sides. I'm now going to start to take a slight diagonal forward section, but only slight. This will always also be directed out square to a low elevation angle. Like so. I'm losing the light a little bit here. Actually, I think that's the best way. You'll see how I'm actually lifting the hair out now through here. I'm going to push her away a little bit further. So I'm going to lift the hair out at the elevation I want, that I think is going to give me what I'm looking for. And we can see here, and this is what I'll remove as well. It's square to the head. So this is the head, and it's going to be square. So I'm going to pull out and elevate to a square shape as well at a low elevation. I have to obviously make sure that it connects into the back as well. So what I want to do is just pull some of the hair from the square that exists at the back. So there's a square here, and then there's a square here as well, and that's my shape. And that's just going to help me tuck that in nicely. And then, again, what I'm doing, I'm just seeing how the hair has reacted to that bevel that's now been created into the hair as well. Slight diagonal forward section, which will encourage the over direction we need. Again, low elevation, not high, low, so quite a low elevation. I'm just going to turn, and you can see here what I'm about to cut. Like that, and that's just going to tuck that in, a really nice little bevel there for the bevel bob. It's one of my favourite cuts. Bevel bob. And I'm just matching it to the graduation in the back. So you just take the corresponding section from the back and pull it into your new square, because there's a square here and now there's a square here as well. And again, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change back to the wider teeth, because I want to relax the tension. Remember, there's going to be some volume applied on the parting area. That's natural. So I just want to make sure that I don't jump it up too much as well. So again, just making sure that you just relax the tension as you reach the parting area as well. And you can see again how that's tucking it in as well, and it instantly lifts the hair. I'm going to do the same on the opposite side, and then we'll cut a fringe. Then we're done. Then we're going to dry it, then we're going to refine it. So I'm going to just take that slight diagonal forward section once more. Straight through there. Again, I'm going to just show you again that expansion that I'm going to do. This will be the expanded form. So that's my angle. That's my elevation look. 0. That's around about 35, and then we're getting up to 45, and then we're getting to 90, and everything 90 and above, that's layers as well. So we're graduating the hair at this elevation. Any questions, feel free to ask, as I've finished these last sections through. If I don't need a clip in the hair, I don't put one in, so I just move it over. I only use clips when I need them. Check that the back is matching. Yeah, she's definitely got a shorter bit on this little round bit, but hey, sometimes that happens with your clients. It could be, you know, it could be something from a previous haircut, or it could be a growth pattern. So you just got to work around these things sometimes. What I'm going to do as well is I'm just going to take the hair from corresponding sides and measure it now, because I've graduated it through. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. And then my final section in the side, again, move to the wide teeth of the comb. And we can see here, just by elevating the hair slightly away, it's a very low elevation. I just help to give it that little tuck. That's what we want, little tuck. 5 out of 5 on the craze! Yes! Nice one. See? It's good. I'm designing a really cool little certificate for this course as well, so I hope you'll like. Okay, so I'm just going to take my top sections and I'm just going to measure them through as well. I missed the beginning of the video, kids. Can I watch the whole thing? Yes, you can. Yes. So I'll save the live onto the feed for the next 24 hours as well. Cool. So yeah, if you're going to miss it, obviously that's why it's going to be there for the next 24 hours. So you'll be able to get back and catch up as well. So cool. Right, what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to cut my fringe in. It's going to be a long fringe. I'm just cutting the fringe because she kind of has a sort of fringe thing in there. I don't really know what it is. So I'm going to just to sort of make that nice and neat again. I always section my fringes first, just to make sure I get no parting in them. Because if they dry with a part, you've got trouble on your hands, because you can't get that parting out unless you shampoo it. So I always drag forward, and as you see, I pinned it into just a pin curl clip, just a little pin curl as well. So I'm going to lower her slightly for this part of the demonstration. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a fringe. That's a rounded line. So I'm going to elevate it slightly, and I'm going to cut it round. Now, little trick on fringes. If you want a fringe that's round, like this, you cut it square. If you want a fringe that's square, like this, you cut it round. And I'll show you what I mean. So if I want it to curve at the edges, I pull everything towards the centre of the face, depending on how much elevation you want. If you want a strong line, no elevation. If you want a softer line, higher elevation, you cut a square line. That will then curve these edges into the sides. If you want a square fringe that's all the way around, you cut it round. And by that I mean you cut the bit where it grows and then you'll go round into the sides. That will give you a square fringe. So it's a little bit backwards. To cut a round fringe, you cut it square. To cut a square fringe, you cut it round. I'm actually going to take this into 3 sections and I'm going to blow dry it into place as well. So I'm going to direct it down. I can't actually see what length I'm cutting it because, well, yeah, I want it long. So, like really long because I'm doing something with it tomorrow. I'm elevating a little bit because I do want a soft look. I'm creating a bevel bob here. So, what I'm actually wanting to create is a little bit of a beveled fringe to match as well. You know, you won't have like a really soft beveled bob and then there's like really super strong fringe in there, would you? So, again, all I'm doing is just taking these sections. Now, by cutting this round fringe, I direct it to a square. And you'll see, as I actually cut this, it'll actually fall round. Can you see? So all you do, to cut a square fringe, you cut it round. And to cut a round fringe, you cut it square. So that's all you've got to do, you just got to go the opposite way. So again, I'm just going through. I'm on my tiptoes here. Mow your block. Yeah, it's cool. I want it quite long because tomorrow's fringe on this contemporary haircut is going to be very short. And then we should get to creative cutting on Thursday. Well, we're just really going for it. So, okay, so I am elevating at a graduation level, so it's going to bevel the edge of the fringe as well. Yeah, cool. So that's the fringe there. So it's long, it's round. Can you see? A little bit more round on this side than this side, so I need to go back through and refine, which is why it's really important to work with the mirror as well. The mirror is not just there for the client, it's there for us. Okay. I'm going to recap as well. It's going to recap the head sheets. I'm going to, and now you don't need to screenshot the head sheets, guys, because look at my stand. This is what I actually put my thing on because I can't get it to be high enough. I need an actual stand. So just to recap, we did a bevel bob, square line technique as well. You can see there as well. This was the head sheets for today. You can copy this head sheet, recreate it for your head sheet assignment if you want. But we'll also be doing a contemporary head sheet and a creative head sheet as well. So you might want to wait. Here's my inspiration, the 90s supermodel as well. This was my inspiration for the look. And these are the questions of the quiz on Pivot Point. So when performing a consultation, we should take into account the client's facial features when creating a haircut. You'll see the other ones there as well. They are on there. I'm not going to read them out because it's a bit boring as well. But yeah, you can see as well. I'm going to give you a little bit of a visual. How can we get a good visual? As well. So we've created the haircut now. As we can see, just that really soft black bevel in there as well. I'm just going to come around. You see this little soft bevel coming in there as well. Cool, guys. Right, I'm going to spin you around. Ooh, my house. Cool. Right, guys, so I'm just going to recap. So we're about to close off. I'm going to clean up about 5 minutes. And then you guys can come back if you like. I'm going to do a blow dry lecture. So great for those guys that are actually watching who are new starts. Those guys, hi. Thanks to you guys for joining us. I'm going to do a quick wrap dry techniques. Very essential hair drying technique. In around about 30 minutes time, I'll be ready to refine the bob and show you the final details. Feel free to join us back, but you can catch these lives for the next 24 hours. So you can go on now and do the quiz. Michael John Learners, pop on your pivot point, do the quiz. If you can't find the quiz, drop me a DM with your email. I'll be happy to send it over that way. Okay, right, I'll be back in about 5 minutes for blow dry lecture, and you can come and watch, or catch me later. See you guys. Bye.